Back to you. Thomas, thank you very much indeed. And that is all from the BBC News at 1, so it's goodbye from me. And on BBC One now, we'll join the BBC's news teams where you are. Have a very good afternoon.
Hello and welcome to BBC Newsline. 3 Royal Navy ships, each the size of 2 Premier League football pitches, are to be built in Belfast, creating more than 900 jobs. It comes after a consortium led by Harland & Wolff was selected as the preferred bidder for an MOD contract. It's almost 20 years since a ship was last built here. Our reporter Lindsay Telford is outside the shipyard for us today. Lindsay, thank you. Now to the continuing squeeze on our finances. Inflation, the rate at which prices are rising, hit yet another high today. It reached 11.1%, which is the highest rate of UK inflation for 41 years. Joining me to discuss the latest figures, our business correspondent Clodagh Rice. What's driving these inflation figures? See you then, Clodagh, thank you. A senior emergency doctor says the crisis in the health service has the potential to cause more harm than COVID. Hospitals across Northern Ireland have been under relentless pressure in recent days. Michael Fitzpatrick reports. The Northern Ireland women's football team beat Italy 1-0 in the international friendly at Seaview last night. In a year when the country was represented at a major women's finals for the very first time, last night's win was the perfect way to sign off. Time for the weather. Cecilia's here. Hi, C.
Hello, Tara. Hello, everyone. So there is still a risk of some showers this afternoon, particularly towards the east. That's where they've been this morning, 1 or 2 on the sharp side coming weekend. So frost to come tonight.
Cecilia, thank you. Now time for a signed news summary with Paula Clark. 3 Royal Navy support ships are to be built in Belfast. It comes after a consortium led by Harland & Wolff was selected as the preferred bidder for an MOD contract. It's almost 20 years since a ship was last built here. The squeeze on finances continues as inflation, the rate at which prices are rising, hit yet another high today. It reached 11.1%, which is the highest rate of UK inflation for 41 years. A senior emergency doctor says the crisis in the health service has the potential to cause more harm than COVID. Hospitals across Northern Ireland have been under relentless pressure in recent days. The Northern Ireland women's football team beat Italy 1-0 in the international friendly at Seaview last night. In a year when the country was represented at a major women's finals for the very first time, last night's win was the perfect way to sign off this year. That's it for now. BBC Newsline will be back at 6:30 here on BBC One. From both of us, have a good afternoon. Bye-bye. Thank you.
It's really a lot of fake news. Час на українській телевізії. Головне.
BBC. Are they going to get past you, or are they going to get past you?
Я думаю, нет.
How soon do you think it could be before there is real fighting here?
I just... couldn't come with you. What do you read about what's happening on the ground?
Where were you at the exact time of the attack?
If that is what you think of him, how do you sit across the table to try to stop the war?
And we're live in 5, 4, 3.
Really starting to mount up, so we could see some issues with localised flooding again. Another cool day, temperatures around the seasonal norm, and it stays unsettled in the weekend. Another area of low pressure will sweep in. Back to you, Sophie.
Stav, thank you very much. And that is it from the BBC News at 6 in a rather unusual position. I'm going to keep Scott company for a little while, but right now on BBC One it is time to join our news teams across the nations and regions for the news where you are. Goodbye.
Hello, this is BBC Newsline. Tonight's headlines. Shipbuilding looks set to return to Belfast, creating hundreds of new jobs.
In excess of 900 will be coming to Belfast and putting Belfast back on the international map.
Inflation hits yet another high. We find out what it means for people here.
Me and my husband are both working. I'm still having to watch what we spend.
Just seen there, a bacon body, £6.
An inquest is told of the moment this young boy fell into a river and drowned. As hospitals continue to struggle, we hear about patients left waiting in ambulances. School students stage their own COP27, so how do they plan to save the planet?
We need to both balance reducing our climate's impact with also developing our economy.
Get away from the us versus them, and instead it's us versus climate change.
Work on the new GAA Stadium, Casement Park, hasn't started yet, but today it's been included in a bid to host one of football's biggest tournaments in 2028.
And we have a cold night coming up, both frost and patchy fog, possibly the coldest night for several months in some places. I'll have all the details later.
It's Wednesday. Welcome to the programme. I'm Tara Mills. Shipbuilding is set to return to Belfast. Harland & Wolff is leading a consortium which has been selected to build 3 vessels for the Royal Navy. The company says the £1.6 billion contract could create more than 900 jobs in the shipyard. Harland & Wolff last built a ship back in 2003. Lindsay Telford has the story. Now to the continuing squeeze on our finances. Inflation, the rate at which prices are rising, hit yet another high today. It reached 11.1%. That's the highest it's been in 41 years, and it's more than analysts had been predicting. Our business correspondent, Clodagh Rice, has more. Well, Claude is with me now, and we have this figure of 11%, but as people were saying in your piece there, for some products it feels a lot higher.
That's right, Tara, and for many of us it will feel like inflation is much higher than 11%, and that's because there's been huge increases in the things like autumn statement tomorrow and what impact those plans are going to have on inflation.
Clodagh, thanks very much indeed. Plenty more on that autumn statement tomorrow night. It's 20 to 7, still to come on the programme. A major drug company says unresolved issues around the Northern Ireland Protocol could threaten the continued supply of some medicines. The final moments of a young boy's life have been recalled by his parents and twin brother at an inquest. 5-year-old Caden McGowan Fleck died after falling into a fast-flowing river in Ballymena in February 2018. The inquest heard he had wandered from his home with his brother to see ducks in a nearby nature park. Kevin Sharkey reports. As many of our hospital emergency departments continue to deal with extreme pressures, we've been speaking to the daughter of one woman who spent 8 hours in an ambulance before being admitted. Efforts are now being made to tackle the problem, with health trusts being advised to create areas within EDs for older people. Michael Fitzpatrick reports. Well, the Sinn Féin Vice President Michelle O'Neill has described the crisis in our hospitals as intolerable. She was speaking after meeting the Royal College of Nursing earlier today. Meanwhile, the DUP leader, Sir Geoffrey Donaldson, denied his party's refusal to restore the executive is compounding the health crisis. Our political editor, Enda McClafferty, is at Stormont for us this evening. What more have the party's been saying, Enda? Enda from a very wet Stormont, thanks very much indeed. Now, a major pharmaceutical firm says there are still unresolved issues with the operation of the Northern Ireland Protocol, despite changes made by the EU. Teva says there's a very significant issue concerning the licensing of medicines, which could threaten the continued supply of some drugs. Here's our economics and business editor, John Campbell. COP27 came to Belfast today, with students from across Northern Ireland linking up with others in Egypt and London to discuss climate change. Just like the nations in Sharm el-Sheikh, they were negotiating their own agreement, and they soon found out it wasn't all plain sailing, as our agriculture and environment correspondent Louise Cullen discovered. Time for sport now, and could one of football's major tournaments be coming to Belfast, Stephen?
Very possibly, Tara. Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland have been included in a joint bid from the 5 home football associations to stage the European Championships in 2028. And the GAA ground, Casement Park, is one of 14 venues named to potentially stage games. Now, although work has not started on the West Belfast site, Casement joins Croke Park and the Aviva Stadium in Dublin on the list. The associations have to submit a final list of 10 stadia to UEFA in April next year. And in a statement today said, "Together we believe we can deliver a world-class tournament." Former Northern Ireland international and Republic of Ireland manager Martin O'Neill has backed Casement's inclusion. And finally tonight at Snooker's UK Championship, Mark Allen is in second round action this evening. He's underway in York against England's Kieran Wilson at 7 o'clock, straight after this programme. That is all the sport tonight, Tara.
Stephen, thanks very much. Gorgeous autumnal colours, but as we saw Enda getting soaked at Stormont earlier, it's not like that outside now, Cecilia.
Well, it's really strange at the moment, Tara, because we've got fog forming in Tyrone and Fermanagh, temperatures down to 2 or 3 degrees, but as we saw from poor Enda there, he was getting soaked at Stormont. So depending on where you are right now, it is a little bit different. Now, the showers that are around will tend to ease away, and most places can expect a cold night, possibly the coldest night, and sunshine and a few showers. That's it.
Cecilia, thank you. That's it for now. Our late news is at 10:30. Until then, you can keep up to date with the BBC News NI website and Radio Ulster. Bye-bye.
Through with some strong winds, and that'll be followed by sunshine and showers on Sunday. That's it for me. Back to you, Sophie.
Steph, thank you. And that's the BBC News at 10 on Wednesday, the 16th of November. There is plenty more analysis of today's main stories on Newsnight. There's Kirsty Walk just about to get underway on BBC Two. The news, however, continues here on BBC One. It's time to join our colleagues across the nations and regions for the news where you are. Good night.
Hello there, good evening. 900 jobs are set to be created at the Harland and Wolff shipyard in Belfast after the company was selected to build 3 vessels for the Royal Navy. It's been nearly 20 years since a ship was built at Harland and Wolff, as Lindsay Telford reports. Well, inflation, the rate at which prices are rising, is now at its highest in 41 years after reaching 11.1%. It's more than analysts had been predicting. Our business correspondent Clodagh Rice has more. The final moments of a young boy's life have been recalled by his parents and twin brother at an inquest. 5-year-old Caden McGowan Fleck died after falling into a river in Ballymena in February 2018. The inquest heard he had wandered from his home with his twin brother to see ducks in a nearby nature park. Here's Kevin Sharkey. The daughter of an elderly woman who spent 8 hours in an ambulance before being admitted to hospital says she feels abandoned by the healthcare system here. Efforts are being made to tackle the problem in our emergency departments, with health trusts being advised to create areas within EDs for older people. Michael Fitzpatrick has more. To snooker and Antrum's, Mark Allen is through to the quarter-finals of the UK Championship. Tonight he defeated Kieran Wilson by 6 frames to 3. The weather's next. With all the details for you, here's Cecilia.
Hello there. A cold one tonight. A lot of clear skies around, not much of a breeze either. There will still be the risk of a shower or two, though, dingly wet and windy weather in through the afternoon and evening.
And that's it for now. Our next television news is at 6:25 in the morning for you. Until then, you can keep up to date with the BBC News NI website and with Radio Ulster. For now, though, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.